probably knows Ashmita BookTalk1. We can proceed fairly soon. This has been quite an adventure of her work over these years. From her first book on jouissance as Ananda, a comparative study of Indian philosophy, feminist theory, and literature, going back 20 years, from Lexington Books, and then 3 later books, also with Lexington. Most recently, Postcoloniality, Globalization, Diaspora. What's next? Well, obviously, what's next is virtual diaspora, and Ashmita's latest book. So I think, Ashmita, why don't we begin? You can give us a selection from it, and then we can have a little conversation about it. Like the microphone on, you should now plug it in. That's there.
Yeah. Hello. It's working now, right? Yeah. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel that it is a very precious moment of my life, because all my precious people are here, and some of them came sort of beyond my expectation. So today I'm going to talk to you about the most recent monograph, Virtual Diaspora, Postcolonial Literature and Feminism. So what is the book about? As Professor Damrosch said, that a couple of years ago I mentioned that we need to go back to our own country, and that is the next phase, or we travel without passport. And so this is a follow-up thought on that book, where I talk about mentally going back and forth to your homeland. Because as you have seen, those of you, I think all of you did sign up, and you see the description was given that it is for the immigrants and exile who for some reason cannot go back. And the book is written for that group of people who are constrained or confined. And you have to remember one thing in mind, that the entire book was written during the pandemic. And thanks to the affiliation I got, and thanks to Professor Damrosch's help, I think I have the remote access to the library. Everything is accessible. So it was possible to have access to this book, all the books. So, I want to give, what I did, because another time my mother also passed, and always I had this question: where do we belong? Where do we fit? And I felt that the time had come to my life. While I have 2 countries, I think I love this land and love my mother country, motherland as well. So I had to construct this trope of virtual diaspora, what I call, which will allow me to go mentally, make the journey, meditative journey to my homeland. And but it is not that simple, as I see my very former student team sitting here, and team knew that I always talk about ontology. If the word ontology is there, we have to know Professor Kashnabis is there. So there is a lot of philosophical underpinning into this book, and so I gave this trope for sublimation, but so it is, as I have done in my first book, Jouissance as Ananda, Indian Philosophy, Feminist Theory and Literature, where I did the interpretation of the rendition of the term jouissance as Ananda. Morning, yes. Yeah, that's it. Jouissance as Ananda. So I translated the French psychoanalytic term into the Indian philosophical notion of bliss or ananda. So, likewise, when I constructed this term virtual diaspora, this is what I did. I have the internet possible. I have both the Eastern and the Western philosophers. So I was, as I was aspiring to write about a format or a mental construct which will give us, those of you who are estranged and away from home, that sort of a solace. I was caught by these two French philosophers. Their names are Deleuze and Guattari, and their book Thousand Plateaus. But as I went along, I was more impacted by one of them, by Deleuze, his idea of immanence and transcendence, as he laid it out in his book Pure Immanence. So, so the question is it, as I said, this is a East-West dialogue. So I have Indian philosophers also into that possible of virtual diaspora, and they are Rabindranath Tagore and Sri Aurobindo. So, and Henry Bergson, because as I was thinking yesterday, I was thinking that this is actually a book on memory, because I have been very much caught by Henry Bergson's theory of memory, because it's unique the way he portrays it. Because so like yesterday, this is the most festive time of India. We are having Goddess Festival, and I'm seeing it all the time through YouTube, and it is transporting me back to my country. So what is happening in that process is that, as Bergson described, that the past is an ontological past, Bergson's term, and that is a general past, eternal past. So it is always there, but you go back to the past from the present. So whatever you are seeing or mourning or missing in the present or trying to remember has to match with what you have seen in the past. And so it's like a camera. You have to adjust the camera and lift it up from the past and bring it to the present. And that's the process. That's what I did yesterday. I was thinking that this is the past. I'm seeing present. I'm seeing this Goddess Festival on YouTube television, and I'm going back. That brings me back memories of my childhood while I was there. So the book is basically the construct of memory, and but that is not the end. The ultimate theme of the book is the theme of love, or the concept of love. And here I have to brag a little bit, because the book would not have originated if I did not have made my journey to Oxford University in 2018, thanks to my former boss, Professor Kennedy, who and team. At the same time, we were going to Scotland. So you can do that. I need to do that too. So you are the inspiration behind this trip to Oxford. And the first seminar I gave on the book was called Virtual Diaspora, Post-Colonial Feminism. So we changed, the publisher changed the title a little bit. So there I explored this feminist philosopher. Her name is Pamela Sue Anderson, and her theory of vulnerability and love. And in that theory, she's telling us that we have problems of life, suffering, but we do not need to confine ourselves only pondering about the problems. We have to go beyond that, and we have to sublimate the pain, and that will be possible, as she calls it, vulnerability and love. So vulnerability sometimes makes you strong, and in this regard I recall our Nobel laureate poet Tagore, his theory of love, as he gave us in his, again, Oxford lecture, Harvard lectures, published as his book, as the religion of man, that